So thank you so much for your willing participation. Could you first please introduce yourself and your area of study?
My name is Manuel Herrero Puertas. I am associate professor here at National Taiwan University, and I specialize in American literature, pre-1900s, and I also do most of my work on disability studies.
大家好，我是高维宏，目前是台大外文系的系主任。我的专长是爱尔兰文学跟20世纪英国文学。
My name is Elizaveta Litovskaya. I'm assistant professor at Department of Foreign Languages and Literatures at NTU, and my area of expertise are Russian language and social media and literatures. The problem with generative AI when it comes to the language learning is the fact that we kind of like start relying on that more and more, and I think like basically when we use an AI as a tool to, I don't know, like not improve your writing but like double check what you did and you able to proofread what the AI did to your text, then like I have no problems with like using that. But I'm not the biggest fan of like AI as a content making device and a content making tool, just because like we need to embrace the idea of that using your own brain is a cool way to create new ideas.
我觉得生成式 AI 对于我们学习语言是有一些帮助的。比方说这个同学他可能没有这个说话的对象，那他可以用这个生成式 AI 来辅助他。这个就是进行一些 conversation 的一些训练，或者一些 pronunciation 的一些调整，对。但是呢，真正的教学还必须是面对面的比较好。我觉得1个小时、2个小时要进行这种没有人的真人互动的这种是比较辛苦的。
I think it's changing things, but somewhat indirectly. AI, what we're seeing is that literature is now become more algorithmic in the sense that writers are writing their fiction, are putting out their creations, aware that a lot of what we consume arrives to us via algorithms. As literary scholars, we have to, of course, catch up with that and understand how this new system works. But it's not something that we haven't done before. I don't think it's going to fundamentally change our methodologies in terms of what we do of close reading, paying attention to a text, but also thinking of patterns and literary histories.
We see how, I don't know, ChatGPT, for example, just giving you a text which is like very obviously based on some sort of information, but they will never give, I don't know, any references, like, or the reference will be incorrect, which means we don't make someone else's job visible. We could see the difference, for example, with music or with cinema in general. We could use, I don't know, Ready Player One movie as an example, because like they referring a lot for the mass cultures. Same as Tarantino always telling that I was inspired by these particular movies, and I could tell you about these movies. And with the research, for example, in literary analysis and like language learning, it's the same thing. There was like we need to be aware what was before us, and we need to give those people, I don't know, some attention.
因为这生成式 AI 它的讯息的来源我们不确定，它可能有一些是来自 Wikipedia，有些可能来自什么资料库。另一个问题是，它不一定会给你正确的答案，正确的这个讯息，因为它是来自不同的资料的一个汇集。如果使用者自己没有办法自己去验证那些资料的话，你最后可能会得到一个错误的结果。那我刚刚所讲说这个伦理的问题，就是因为你不知道它的来源在哪里，那它有可能是别人的作品。那你如果 就是你的文章里头，即使你是用到人家的句子，其实你就可能会被人家认为说你是抄袭。
There are less obvious ethical concerns, I think. One of them has to do with labor. What I want to know as a worker is what is the model of labor of these new tools. The line between using and producing has been blurred to the point that if I'm using ChatGPT and I'm correcting its mistakes and I'm fixing its flaws and its misinformations, I'm working for ChatGPT in a way. Right? I think when this happens on a large scale, we have to question the model of labor and the extractive nature of that model. My second non-obvious, or at least I want to think of it as, from what I've seen, is not very obvious. It hasn't entered the conversation in full force. It's an environmental problem. What is the environmental cost of these new tools, which are very high maintenance, from what I've heard, and that require a lot of power and a lot of energy.
Some people use quantitative analysis, and as I've previously mentioned, probably generative AI could be used for that. When it comes to the meaningful or like meaningless, I'm not sure actually for now that the generative AI at the at its recent stage could meaningfully contribute to that. ChatGPTs, like for example, and other forms of artificial intelligence, firstly they know what internet knows. And we know that sometimes people on the internet knows a lot of great things, and sometimes you could find complete nonsense over there.
它当然可以帮助我们很快的知道这个故事的，比方说是一个故事的这个大纲。那它没有办法帮助我们去分析一个作品的细节。所以生成式 AI 或许可以给我们一个 summary，但是实际上还是需要人用大脑去分辨，然后去重新的组织这些知识，然后重新的去创作知识。你说贡献吗？它有一部分也许可以加快你理解，但是你其实还是要自己花时间去读，这样子。
I'm skeptical, and I want to think I'm skeptical and not cynical about every time we develop a new tool that help us do what we do as literary critics and teachers of literature. We need to not take it for granted. We need to apply the same intensity of analysis, of analytical insight to the tools we use to the text. But I've heard some interesting approaches to teaching poetry with AI, for example, and seeing how AI tries to write a poem and then fails. And what's interesting of that is that AI can be used as a pedagogical tool by making it fail, by making it not do what it's supposed to do. Okay. Right. Again, I don't think it replaces. I think it changes the quality or the efficiency of what we do. I don't think it changes the very fundamental nature of what we do, which is to read text, paying close attention.
I think it basically makes everything very bland, just because the beauty of human thinking about things is unexpectedness of his or her way of thinking. You could know things from very different fields and being like, oh yeah, that one is interesting. I see this connection. Maybe people haven't seen it before, or they saw it from the very different perspective, and that's beautiful. And ChatGPT and another generative AIs cannot do it.
I always check with your instructor. If AI is not or does not appear in the syllabus, in the policies of the specific course, just bring that issue with your instructor. In my classes, I don't allow AI. The reason is LLMs, ChatGPT, and all these new AI tools are not educational. They are designed as tools that facilitate a certain outcome in a more efficient, usually a faster way. That doesn't mean they teach you how to do things.
我觉得在课堂上呢， 当然老师是可以就是让同学们使用 AI，但是 AI 毕竟还是一个工具。基本上我们还是希望同学们在课堂上还是要把原来应该学习的这个语言知识，或者语言能力，或者是文本分析能力，或者文化分析的能力，或者是资料收集的能力，或者思考的能力，还是需要培养，那个才是真正的实力。有一天如果没有这些 AI 的时候，你怎么样去得到，你怎么样能够讲得更好，学得更好，或者你有同样的能力，而不是完全去依赖它。
Part of what I'm trying to do always is to let students be okay with the fact that your first draft is always rough. It takes a few attempts to get it right, and that you need to make it wrong a few times before you make it right. That's how learning works. In the context of writing, AI will give you the shortcut, will give you the short-term result, but it won't teach you anything. So if you use it with care and use it critically.
Artificial intelligence is great for checking your grammar. You could do it, learn the corrections ChatGPT probably will give you, and learn from that. But also rely on your teachers, rely on your classmates and group mates, rely on the students who were before you, rely on your professors, rely on yourself. Embrace your brain. Your brain is awesome. This is the place where all the magic happens.
谢谢老师的参与。
好，谢谢大家。
我们就结束了。
好
That's great.
Great. Thank you so much again. That will be it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. That
All
will be
right.
it.
好，谢谢大家，
拜拜
拜拜。